Good evening, everyone. It's a pleasure to be here, and thanks a lot, Himanshu, for that really insightful presentation. I don't want to take too much time, but just to say that we are USAID is proud to partner on this initiative with IIC and also with both Samrid and Revive, where we've been anchor funders. I just wanted to come in and make a couple of quick points, just based on some of the questions we've been seeing some of the discussions we've been having. I think first is that. When thinking about blended finance is just an approach for us to eventually meet development objectives or reach development goals. And I know most of the audience here is from the philanthropic side, so that tends to be our lens. And when thinking about blended finance, and since it's only a tool, it's critical to take an issue to instrument or an intervention issue to intervention approach, right? And I think that approach kind of has been highlighted very well, both by Samrid and Revive, who you'll hear from just right after me from Priya. So Samrid, as Himanshu mentioned, works with health innovators. They work very closely with them to identify the key development challenges they're trying to solve, the financing challenges those innovators and social enterprises might be facing, and then coming up with the required blended finance instrument solution. So, for example, and I think Himanshu touched upon it, some of the innovators needed grants for some of their non-revenue generating activities that helped free up capital for a bank to become more comfortable to lend to that enterprise. In some cases, those enterprises were not able to afford high rates, high interest rates from banks, and that's where blended finance came in to reduce that rate for the enterprises linked to certain health outcomes. And in some cases, as Himanshu was pointing out, the lenders were not comfortable to lend, and that was the financing issue. And we looked at a stopgap guarantee measure to kind of help bring that capital in. So I think similarly with Revive, which worked with the aim of helping small businesses and informal sectors tied through difficulties or economic difficulties due to COVID, they also provided a very tailor-made blended finance set of solutions to these small enterprises and informal sector workers. The one that were hit the hardest probably got grants because they would not have been able to pay back. Certain others who were in a much better place were given returnable grants, and certain others who were better, even better, were given concessional loans, similar to the Samrit angle. And I think one other thing I wanted to just add here, I think Siddharth asked that question: would these transactions have happened with blended finance? Without blended finance, right? So I think that's a very important key when we are designing blended finance, is the additionality, whether something will go through without this support. So we're essentially seeing that these grants can help mobilize that capital, which would not have otherwise been mobilized for these enterprises. Last point I want to make is that blended finance is just one tool. I think for it to be most effective, it needs to be combined with a lot of other interventions. I think Himanshu started touching upon it, talking about how Samrit combines its grants and all these blended finance structures, but also provides critical support services to these enterprises to help improve their business, for them to be more impactful, to them to be more profitable. Similarly, through their partnership with governments, they've also been able to open large public healthcare markets for these innovators. Similarly, Revive, like I said, helped small businesses through tailored interventions in blended finance, but also, did tailored interventions around business advisory, digitization for those MSMEs, linkages with large corporate chains. Through these interventions, again, Revive was able to create sustainable financial inclusion for these businesses and individuals through, systematically moving them from a grant to a returnable grant to commercial loan, to concessional debt, to eventually commercial loans. And that's the approach that blended finance can really help with. And I think that's where a lot, because there's so much to do in combination with blended finance, there's always opportunity for some of our regulatorily stricken CSR and philanthropic donors to come in at these different junctures.